Hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share a heartwarming story with you titled, Tina's First Day Home. The Fluffy Queen Arrives. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Of course, if it's not your style, feel free to skip it, no hard feelings. Now, let's begin the story. The day Tina came home was not just any ordinary day. It was the day the kingdom gained a queen. Except, instead of wearing a golden crown, Tina wore her most glorious accessory, a fluffy coat of fur that looked like it had been styled by a team of professional cloud sculptors. Her soft, bouncy fur practically shimmered in the sunlight as I opened the carrier, and she strutted out like she had just won America's Next Top Cat. I had prepared everything in advance: new toys, a cozy bed, bowls filled with fresh water and food, and even a scratching post that I had naively hoped would distract her from the furniture. But Tina didn't even glance at them. Her priority was clear: to let the household know that the new ruler had arrived. She pranced through the living room with her fluffy tail high, inspecting every corner as if she were deciding which part of the castle should be hers. The funniest part was how her fluff seemed to move independently, like it had its own personality. When she walked, her fur bounced along with her tiny steps. When she sat down, her fur puffed up even more, making her look like a perfect cotton ball with eyes. I couldn't stop giggling at how she could be both elegant and comical at the same time. Of course, Tina wasn't just about appearances. She had a flair for dramatics too. After her royal inspection, she leapt onto the couch and flopped dramatically onto her side, as if exhausted from her grand entrance. I swear she was silently saying, "Yes, human, you may now admire me." Naturally, I obeyed. By the afternoon, Tina had already established herself as the center of attention. Every step she took seemed to leave invisible sparkles of charm. I couldn't help but follow her around the house, partly because I was mesmerized by her fluffy coat, and partly because I was worried she might try to explore forbidden places, like the back of the sofa or, worse, the kitchen countertop. Her fluff made her even funnier to watch when she tried to do serious cat things. For instance, she crouched low, wiggled her butt, and pounced on a toy mouse with all the intensity of a wild tiger. Except, instead of looking fearsome, her fluffy belly bounced and rolled like a marshmallow, and her tiny paws got lost in her own fur. She managed to catch the mouse toy, of course, but then proceeded to roll onto her back and kick it with her hind legs like she was auditioning for a comedy skit. I quickly discovered that the fluff wasn't just adorable. It had practical consequences too. Every time I tried to pet her, my hands sank into what felt like layers upon layers of cloud. The fluff seemed endless, and I half expected to find a secret portal to another dimension hidden somewhere beneath her coat. Grooming her was an adventure on its own. One brush stroke would produce enough fur to knit a small scarf. I joked that by wintertime, I'd have enough to make a whole sweater labeled "Made by Tina." But Tina, in her regal way, seemed proud of her fluff. She often sat by the window, sunlight highlighting the halo around her, making her look like a living cotton candy sculpture. Birds outside chirped nervously, probably mistaking her for some mysterious, otherworldly creature. Tina, of course, ignored them. Her only concern was maintaining her royal posture while looking fabulous. As the evening settled in, Tina had fully embraced her role as the queen of the house. She had tested out the bed, acceptable, sniffed the food, worthy, and batted the scratching post a few times. Not as fun as the sofa, apparently. But what made my heart melt was when she finally curled up on my lap. It wasn't just a simple nap. It was more like a coronation ceremony. She kneaded my legs with her little paws, purred like a tiny motorboat, and then melted into a ball of fluff that radiated warmth. Her soft coat spread out so much that I could barely see where Tina ended and the fluff began. I was officially chosen as her throne, and I wore that honor proudly. The funniest moment came when she dreamed. Her paws twitched, her whiskers quivered, and her fluff puffed up even more as if she were chasing dream butterflies in her sleep. I couldn't resist whispering, "Sweet dreams, fluffy queen." She responded with a louder purr, as if confirming that she truly ruled this household now. By the time I carried her to her little bed, I realized something. Tina wasn't just a cat. She was a comedian, a diva, and a bundle of joy rolled into one unbelievably fluffy package. Her first day home wasn't just about her exploring the house. It was about her transforming it. The once ordinary living room now looked brighter with her presence. The couch felt warmer where she had napped, and my heart felt fuller than ever. Tina's fluff wasn't just fur, it was magic. The kind of magic that makes you laugh when you didn't expect to, smile when you're tired, and feel loved when you didn't even ask for it. From that day on, The house was no longer just my home. It became Tina's kingdom. And I couldn't be happier to live under the reign of the fluffy queen. Tina's first day at home, full of fluff, drama, and charm, reminds us that joy often hides in the smallest, most ordinary moments. Watching her strut around with confidence, settle into her role as queen, and make an entire home feel brighter teaches a lesson that's easy to overlook in today's fast-paced world. Presence matters more than perfection. Just like Tina doesn't care whether the scratching post is brand new or if her fur gets everywhere, she embraces her surroundings with authenticity and playfulness. In modern life, we often chase after big achievements, polished appearances, or carefully planned schedules, forgetting that genuine happiness comes from being ourselves and enjoying what's right in front of us. Tina also shows that comfort and connection are essential. When she curled up on a lap, she turned a simple act into a moment of warmth and belonging. In the same way, we can bring light into our own lives and others by valuing connection over productivity and choosing laughter over stress. The best advice from Tina's fluffy arrival is this: let your fluff shine. Don't take life too seriously, and remember that even in chaos, there's always room to pause, smile, and enjoy the softness of the present.